Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Outside now, it's 75.
And it is Wednesday. It's the noon hour. That means it's time for Senior Talk, which is brought to you by the Solon American Legion. And here's your host, Rex Brandstatter.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Rex Brandstatter. It is Senior Talk. And thank you all my friends out at the Solon American Legion. What a great bunch of men and women out there on such a I don't know what the word, a strange day, nostalgic day, sad day. But at least we get to celebrate the fact that it's behind us. This is September 11th, and we all know what that stands for. So if you drive around town, you'll see lots and lots of flags at half staff. That's the reason why, and rightfully so. We all remember where we were and what we heard. So my salute to all those first responders who served, and of course all those who didn't come out of that alive, men and women. And it is a tragic day. And the world hasn't been the same since. Well, listen, today is Senior Talk. It's a beautiful day in September in Iowa, and you heard the weather forecast. Sounds good to me. It's the old question, like sounds good for another week, and the old question would be, what could go wrong? And of course, when you talk about the weather in Iowa, you never want to ask that question, so we're going to delete that question, as they would say, wow, Senior Talk, the weekly radio program, where we try to come up with ideas, thoughts, trends, for we and you fellow seniors. And thanks for listening, by the way, taking time out of your busy day to sit back and see if we can't cook something up on maybe talk retirement or health or income or lack thereof, or financial issues, expenses, too many, family, living arrangements, and more. And we'll work on all of these and more as we go. And you might hear something that can help you or maybe a member of your family. Or a friend or someone you recently talked to who had trying to find out this or that, how this could work. You might say, well, gee whiz, here's what I might have heard on Senior Talk, and see if this is helpful to you. That's what Senior Talk is all about. And I only have a license to be a realtor in Iowa. I don't purvey or try to give out any advice on any other profession standing. I can't. But when I talk IRAs and financial this or that, I'm urging you to go see a professional who can handle and take care of you in the proper manner. That's what Senior Talk is about. Kind of a goading, G-O-A-D-I-N, goading, if you will, into action to take care of yourself and get what I call a senior profile, a senior legal profile. And we talk about that all the time. All right, that'd be your will, your powers of attorney, and all kinds of things like that. We'll talk more and more as we go. I got some really good stuff coming up here in the next couple of weeks or so. Well, grab yourself a sandwich. It's time to do that, and a nice cold root beer, and make a difference where you get your sandwich from, and see what we can't do something here. My name is Rex Brandstatter. I'm 75 years old, and I've been a licensed Iowa real estate broker since 1974. And if you put that together there, I've been a licensed realtor for 50 years, for God's sakes. And I work mainly with seniors and senior families. I work with estates, unfortunately. I work with administrators, executors of estates. I work with the trust departments of banks, call me, and anything we can to help seniors out. And sometimes, unfortunately, it's an estate. And I have a senior line that you can call me. I'm at 319-330-5534. 330-5534. I should tell you that some of the people that call me sometimes are in town for a funeral. And they don't know now they're here for the funeral because the two kids all live out of town, and they grew up in Iowa City, moved away, and now dad's gone or one or the other. Now mom finally passed away. Now what do they do? We have a lot of talks about things like that and a plan of action for them. I've designed a plan of action for them, and I have that, and I can help you with that. Helping some people. I just met with them this morning again from Des Moines in the same situation. The local relative is now gone, and now we'll be selling the condominium. So that's what happens. It's part of it's part of the trail of life. I call it. It's what it is. So that's the story. So give me a call. Senior line 319-330-5534. All right, and you really have to love this weather and just kind of let it all soak in. We've all you're from around here in the Midwest, you know what it's like in other parts of the month and other parts of the year. And so these days are just beautiful. And I should give you a little farm update. Now I live in the suburbs, but a little farm update here from my cousin who just called me about a half hour ago. And they've got beans. He's over in the Walcott and Durant area. And there are beans over there ready to be picked and going to start picking this week. And corn is, seed corn is being picked right now over there. The seed corn is. And the regular field corn is going to start coming out next week in a lot of his friends and relatives over there. So, well, wait a minute now, folks. This is September. Yes, that, in all honesty, it's about a month early. If you drive around and see the bean fields, they're all turning right now. And my cousin claims that over there he's got the beans that are all the stalks are gone and they're ready to go. So the farmers are going to be out. This is a month early. Well, why would they be a month early? Well, this weather, it's been fairly dry this year for sure. But remember this, that the farmers all start planting against their natural advice in their own business. They start planting in late March and early April. So they put in the ground, and most of them dodged a bullet as far as frost, and things like that. And so now they're going to be picking. We're going to call it a month early, maybe more. Wow. Big deal. Now, the problem, of course, is the price of corn and the price of that. But maybe they can store it and hang on to it till it's worth some money. Good luck to those farmer guys and women. So let's give them a big thumbs up on that. That is for sure. The only thing I talk about right now is senior talk. I'm not talking Iowa football, and I'm not talking Dodger baseball. Those are things that are off limits for me for a while. I'm still, I'm not over the Iowa football game. If you're over it, or if you're an Iowa State fan, that's your deal. I'm not. I'm a Hawkeye fan, and I'm not over it, and I will not get over it until a year from now. All right. Well, this weekend past week revealed to me that even more of my senior friends are dealing with health issues. Really. And the more you talk to your friends, you get in a setting where other people are mostly seniors. That's kind of, you run with your own gang, I guess, so to speak. And your group, I don't even know your group, and you don't know mine, but you could all talk, or someone in your group going to talk a hip replacement or a knee replacement, or they just had some surgery, or hearing issues and things like that. Lyme disease, the hips and the knees and the hearing and eyesight seem to be fixable. Let's repeat that. The hip repairs and the knee repairs and the hearing and the eyesight seem to be fixable. Now, I'm certainly no doctor, and there are those who haven't been able to fix it, that is for sure. The Lyme disease, and that's spelled Lyme, by the way, is sort of a silent and sneaky disease that's under the radar, but it's a real bad deal. If you have Lyme disease, I'll bet you $1 that you went to the doctor more than once to figure out what it was, because it's not on top of their chart, and they look up, you've got this issue and that issue and this issue and that issue, and Lyme disease is kind of down the pecking order there a ways. So they generally don't test for that first, except for a friend of mine who was reading about it and went to the doctor and said, let's start by checking Lyme disease, and that's what he had. So instead of starting like three other visits to find out, he got it like the first half hour he was there. And he's got it, and he's having some health problem. He really, truly is. It makes you just die because, well, I didn't mean to say that. It makes you just upset, that's the better term, sorry, upset that the little dinky stinking ticks out in the woods can cause so much health problems, and they truly do. Now, my friend is has constantly, and he's being treated for it at the hospital at UIHC, but he has dizzy spells. He's had dizzy spells. He has body heat issues. He's always running hot. He's always running he was running like a 100, 100.5. Now he's at 99 plus, 99, 98, 100 all the time because of Lyme disease. And I mean, the docs have figured this all out. And they said, you're lucky you don't have diabetes, because Lyme disease is hard on diabetes tissues. It's the body, the skeletal dynamics, your blood, your balance control, all because of those stinking little ticks in the woods. So next time you want to go mushroom hunting and knock yourself out, I won't be with you, and I don't know where else you'd get them other than that for most people. If you're out in the woods, and some people go out there and don't get them, but it's just, and you can't protect yourself from everything. I do understand that, but the stinking little ticks cause Lyme disease. Not good. So my friend who has that, he's really dealing with it, but it's kind of an everyday issue for him. He had some He had a PICC line put in for a while. I mean, he's really going the gauntlet, all because of Lyme disease. So good luck to you if you've got it, and hope you can take care of it. That is for sure. Sometimes it takes years to appear, but because it takes years to appear, it's actually been working inside you for a long, long time. So look out. So it's not good, and good luck to you. How's that sound? Well, I'm going to tell you a little story about a health issue that I confronted here I've confronted it within the last month or two, and doing well. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't know the difference. But here's the deal: in the last 3 years, every time I went to the eye doctor, he'd say, "Take the test and this test and that test, the standard. Read this and read that," and I was getting worse. Well, that was worse. And I go once a year. That's worse than last time. So I said, well, I can't see as good as last time. And starting 3 years ago, he said, men at your age and women, obviously, but he said, I'm seeing some cataract maturation here. So he said, cataracts, we can't do anything with them until we think that they're, no wine before it's time, I guess. No cataract before it's time. So this year when I went to him, he did all that test. He goes, man, you're having some troubles, aren't you? I said, I am. He said, tell me your troubles. I said, all right. Number one trouble is I now sit at my desk when I'm there and have my computer on reading emails and different things. I can't hardly read it. I have a magnifying glass up there. He said, oh, for God's sakes, that's not good. I said, I know it. I said, I'm in my car. Sometimes I'm driving down the street, and my peripheral doesn't seem to be all that great. I about hit a kid on a bike not long ago. I never saw him coming from the right. I had no clue he was there. I could have run over him. I'd be in the county jail for sure at this point. So, and then he asked me this question. He looked at him again and he said, how's your night driving? I said, I won't drive at night, period. I'll drive down to the store. I live here in town. I'll drive down to the store because I know where I'm going. But I said, it's terrible. I said, when the oncoming cars, if I drive at night, I'm on, for instance, we go to a lot of Colonel's games. And after Colonel's games, you drive home, and I don't like the freeway. So we always come down 965, the old highway. That's my speed anyhow. And I'm telling you, it's a two-lane. When the cars come at me, I have to put my hand up over their headlights because I can't see. He said, well, that's you're right in there. So in other words, you don't like night driving. I said, don't like it. I can't do it. I said, if it's raining, I don't even hardly want to drive to the grocery store. I said, I'm in trouble. What are we going to do? He said, we're going to get you fixed up. We're going to send you, we're going to send you to an eye doc, refer you over to an eye doctor. And that eye doctor will also be a surgeon, and they'll take a look at this thing to make sure I'm reading what I'll read. I'll send my report over there, and we'll make sure that they see it as I see it, and they'll see even more because they're the surgeons on these things. So that was in, I'm going to say that was in April was my eye checkup, was the eye checkup, and I got in to see the eye doctor in June. I think it was the 30th of June. I mean, it takes that long to get to these people. Well, it had taken me 3 or 4 years to realize I had kind of the cataracts, so they were building up. So I wasn't like it was the broken leg where you get in right away, just ask my wife. So on June 30th, I went to meet with a lady doctor here in town, and he's the eye surgeon. He says, oh, yes, you've got some issues here. And she had an assistant there, and she was going like the dentist, upper K5 and a 42-14, and we'll do a 12011. And I said, what's all that stuff mean? Shop talk, I'm sure. Yeah, that's what it is. I said, okay. I said, now that you're done with your eye checkup, I have a couple questions. I said, I don't mean to be a smart fanny here, but I said, have you done a lot of these before? She said, yeah, several hundred. I said, okay, well, that answers my question. I don't want to be the first one you've ever done. She said, you won't be. And I said, I don't want it to make you think that I ask you if you know what you're doing. That's not my point. I just want to I feel comfortable telling it. I said, the other thing I'd like to know is this. Is it possible that you could just tell me that I'm the average 75-year-old man who has a problem and needs cataract surgery, and that's what has to happen? She said, Rex, you're the average 75-year-old man who needs cataract surgery. I said, you didn't see anything weird in there? Well, no, not really. They're all different. And she said, it's surgery is surgery, so things can go wrong. But she said, we've just done so many. This science is really, really good. I said, okay, count me in. What's cooking here? So she came back with her calendar, and she said, you'll have your surgery And I had the left eye done first. I don't know. She's the doctor. She chose them. I didn't care. She chose the left eye first, and be 3 weeks ago this Friday, I had eye surgery on my left eye. And I'm still going. You have to wear a patch at night so you don't scratch it. You can't do anything. You can't bend over. That puts eye pressure, built up pressure on your eye. You think I was a biology major in college, so you think all these things through. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. If you take a shower, you just zero soap in your hair. So how are you going to do that? Well, you learn how to take a shower without getting soap in here. You close your eyes and put a washcloth over it and hang on dearly. You just can't do that. Eye drops 2-3 times a day. I've enlisted my wife. She's now a nurse. Nurse Michael is now the nurse. She's in the eye drop department. He runs the eye drop department. And it's like morning, noon, and night eye drops. All right. So that took care of eye number one. Then at that time they said, when they scheduled that, you'll also have the right eye done 2 weeks from that day. I said, well, 2 weeks from that day, that's like the day before a football game, day before the Iowa State collapse. Kinnick crumbled, I call it. The great collapse at Kinnick Stadium. So I said, okay. So I wasn't going to, it takes so long to get in, I wasn't going to question the doctor, so I did. I now have both eyes operated on. And yes, I went to the game the next day. I wasn't sure that I would. I told my friends, I don't know if I can go. I don't know if I can go there and see the game. I don't know if haven't really been in any pain, but it's you have to deal with eye drops and sunglasses, and my glasses don't work. I had glasses, bifocals before I started. They don't work because I can see. I don't even have a pair on right now. I talked to somebody the other day that says, there's something different with you. What's up? I said, I don't know. Tell me. He said, you don't have any glasses on. I said, no, I don't. I don't need them. But in the end, I will need them to see short term, see up close. So I guess that makes me farsighted, if I recall biology. It makes me farsighted because I need to help up close. That doesn't make any sense, but that's the story. So now I go back to the eye doctor tomorrow, or on Friday. I go back to the eye checkup doctor, ophthalmologist. And at that, he will then do another test, read the bottom line and stuff like that. How many lines down can you read? Well, when I first went there, I was having trouble with the first one. And the other day when I was there, just after I had the first eye done, I read the bottom line, the inky-dinky stuff. He goes, man, that's really good. I said, yeah, that's with one eye. So I tried the eye that hadn't been operated on, and I could only read the line once. So this thing really worked. Many of you have had cataract surgery. Many of you are wondering why you can't drive at night, why the headlights do this and do that. And I have to tell you that some of these new headlights are bright on their own without having cataracts. Some of them are just off-the-wall bright. The LED stuff is really, really overboard. And so, but if you got a cataract goofing around in there, away you go. Go see your eye doctor. The point of all this, I want you to go see your eye doctor. I had a hearing doctor in here one time, and a really good guy. I'll be bringing him back in any time. Talk about hearing and eyesight. Two things you don't want to give up on. Number one is eyesight. For God's sake, eyesight. So in my case, they only did one eye at a time. In case, in all honesty, in case something went south, at least you got one of them left. For God's sakes, and they tell you that. They're honest enough to tell you that. So now that I have them both done, and I'm a day-by-day deal is what it is, day-by-day deal. I wear sunglasses a lot. Getting way back to normal, and I mean normal when I'm like 30 years old. Television the other night, I stood in front of the television, which is kind of a big screen one, in one room, and I said, my guy told me, I would look at the color. She said, what? I said, look at this blues and the reds. Wow. It's just so many more things. Computer screen is just great. These things are, it's kind of like a Lyme disease in the fact that it takes so long to build up. And cataract, it takes you all your life to get to where you need the surgery. And now all of a sudden it's a whole new, not a whole new world, but you're back to seeing. You don't really realize how cloudy things have been. I wasn't seeing signs along the highway very good. I just thought I was getting older, which I am. So that's the story. I have in my right pocket. I always, for years, I carry a Boy Scout knife. Have since I was like 12 years old, still do. And I carry that little patch to clean my glasses. In the last year or 2 years, I now realize that I was cleaning my glasses once or twice a day, thinking that my glasses were all smudgy up. That's why I couldn't see. Well, it really wasn't the case at all. It was the cataract. So I've got that behind me now. If you're going to do that, it's It's invasive to the eye doctor, and they knock you out. It's just I had it out to the surgery center out by the Highlander, both cases, and had my surgery scheduled for 5:30 in the morning, which doesn't bother me. My wife, I had to get dynamite to make that happen, but it worked. It worked because you have to have a driver. They won't let you. You can't go to have it done. You have to sign that you have a driver. So that makes sense, for God's sakes. All right. So now that I've got that behind me, I'm living on eye drops and get a new prescription. I won't have the prescription. You know, it takes 3 weeks to a month to get the glasses, but I don't need them. So I'll live with that for quite a while. So that's my little story on my eye things. And I know there are much rather deeper issues going around. A lot of friends have. Families have lot deeper issues than that. I feel comfortable in the fact that I've solved this one. I've conquered the colonoscopy and the eyesight thing. I hope there's no more in my future, but as you get old, that's what happens. Somebody says, you all agree, maybe, not all of you, but there's no gold in the golden years, and that's we have to make it gold. Whatever opportunities we have to take the opportunities on the good days to make it gold for sure. Wow. Well, I guess the fun part about all this, I can see the trees better, the grass is greener, and it's a whole different thing. And I'm patting myself on the back for having it done. I could have said, no, I'm chicken. I don't want anybody, and I don't mean to chicken, because if you don't want to have it, that's your business, not a problem. But it's not. It's kind of like colonoscopy. The build up to it was far greater and far more apprehensive than the actual doing of that. So all right. So I'll get that new checkup, and away we go pretty soon. Well, guess what, folks? At age 65, the national average life expectancy is an additional 18.9 years. So let's do this. I sat in the back row math class in every level of grade school, high school, junior college, and college. I sat in the back row of math because I just couldn't figure it out. Still haven't used algebra, by the way, in my job. However, at 65 is 18.9. I'm going to round that to 20 years. So if you're 65 years old, you have, roughly speaking, the national average 20 more years to go. Yes, some of you won't make it. Some of us won't make it. Who knows? B, some of us will surpass it. But the average is 85 years old. So one of the things that would mean, if you extrapolate that back, would be you need, just going with that life expectancy chart, you need to have an income plan based on the fact that you would live to possibly be 85 years old. Now, if you go to a financial planner, they are using 90 and 95, and in some cases, 100. The fastest growing segment in our population, the United States, is the centenarian, the 100 and plus, the fastest growing. And that you can attribute a lot of that to people who quit smoking. I don't know, whatever else they did, but a lot of it is science. Doctoring, medication, things like that. Not a lot of people do it on their own, but a lot of things along the way help us get older. I hope there's a quality of life if you make it that long. So you should be planning on an income stream of some sort from your investments. If you're listening today and you're 55, you should be planning on an income stream until, just pick a number, until you're 90 and maybe longer. Well, I probably won't make it that long. Well, if you don't, that's not the best report. But along the way, you plan for that, so you had a good income stream all that time. That's what I'm talking about. The senior population has increased 47%. Now, that's 65 and older. Get this, has increased 47% from 2010 to 2023. So in 13 years, that would be last year, 2023, the senior population of 65 and up has increased 47%. So that's, I'm going to round that up to 50% more seniors. That's because of what? Why are there so many more seniors? Well, that's an easy answer. I know you're all raising your hand. Every one of you are raising your hand. That's because of the baby boom after World War II. That's exactly right. When the war was over, the men and women who came back were ready to kind of get on with things in life and have a family and a career and a job and a house and a home and schools and all those things because of World War II. And so that's why now the baby boomer population is starting at age 1946 to 1964. That's considered the baby boomer population, and now you would consider older people. And so, therefore, the need for Medicare and all the things that go with it. All the things that go with it, crutches and wheelchairs and doctor visits and medicine and all the things that go with it, ramps, all those things. Iowa has right at 18% seniors 65 and plus. We're going to round that to 20%. 1 out of 5 Iowans are 65 and older. 1 out of 5. Now, you won't believe that in Iowa City, the home of the University of Iowa and all the students. So that's kind of askewed a little bit here. But if you took the student population out of Iowa City, Johnson County we'll call it, it's 15%, I think, if I read a report right. Still a lot of seniors around here, 65 and up. Well, you drive down the street and go somewhere and look around in restaurants or entertainment places or ball game, anything you want to do, there are fellow seniors for sure. That's good. 62 million Americans are 65 and up. Did you hear that? 62 million Americans are 65 and up. You see the problem with Social Security and Medicare? They're dealing with 65 million people. And they're trying to finance that stuff. Well, you can see the problems right now. There are not enough people working to support those who are, if you will, not working. No, I'm still working. I get a Social Security check. I still work. You still work. If you still work, you get a Social Security check. I had a call not long ago, and they said, I retired from my job, and I'm on I take Social Security, and now I have a part-time job. I looked at my pay stub. For God's sakes, they're taking Social Security out. I'm already retired. Well, it's got nothing to do with retirement. It's got nothing to. It's all about a paycheck. They just take the income. They don't care if you sit in a hammock on the beach of Hawaii every day of your life. If you're making no income, you won't pay in Social Security. If you're out in Hawaii and sitting on the beach in a hammock, but you work part-time at night at the movie theater, you're going to pay Social Security on that check. That's what it's all about. So I had to clarify that with the gentleman that called. He was kind of beside himself. That's for sure. So roughly 1 in 6 Americans are 65 and older. Amazing. I just think that's quite a. I remember when I was a kid, my grandma and grandpa, they were born in the early 1890s, both of them, and so I thought they were the oldest people in town that I knew. And my grandpa retired at 65, and I thought he was an old man. He looked like an old man. He pretty much had it. Well, he lived to be 78, but about my age, but he wasn't in any kind of condition, knock on wood, that I am. He could, this, that, and the other thing. So. Guess what? Whose grandkids think that their grandparents and great-grandparents are the oldest people in the world? Yours. Your grandkids think you're old and run down and over the hill. Isn't that something? We went from thinking that about our grandparents, and now our grandkids, your grandkids, now I don't have any, thinking you're the oldest people in the world. Wow. I have an interesting story here of something in Iowa City history that I think is kind of fun. Let's see it. And this is a true story. I was at a 4-way stop sign the other day, and the other 3 corners, on one corner there was a UPS delivery truck, the other corner had a FedEx truck, and then on the one was an Amazon truck. And I just sat there, wasn't my turn. I watched them, and on each it says Amazon. They're all delivering. Each one of those guys driving those trucks are making a delivery. I said, man, nobody goes and picks anything up. You order it online, and then they ship it here to the big warehouse around here, whether it's a UPS package or a FedEx package or something. You order it on Amazon, they send it to the big warehouse here in town. Amazon. If you want to see the Amazon warehouse, drive out past Procter & Gamble. Just keep going a little ways, and you'll see about 1 million FedEx trucks and all the guys, all their vans out there, all the employees. It's a huge, huge, huge operation, and they're delivering here in the Iowa City and the greater Johnson County area. So I got to thinking about, I read one time about everybody gets things delivered. And Hy-Vee delivers food. And this reminded me all the stuff, and I'm sitting at the stop sign, remember, and this is how my shallow mind works. I'm thinking of mud. I told my wife that. She said, what is wrong with you? You're thinking of mud. I said, I caught you too. I'm thinking of back in the day in Iowa City, it was called the Merchants United Delivery of Iowa City. Merchants United Delivery, therefore their name, acronym was MUD. So she said, what's that? And I told her, she said, oh, for God, Who cares? I said, I care. And I think it's an interesting story. And I know that this is good on Senior Talk. And here's why. Because we are way ahead of their time. Iowa City, there were 25 grocery stores in Iowa City in 1915 when MUD started. 25 grocery stores. And I can name half of them, at least half of the locations. You can, too, if you've been around town or in your town when you were a kid, whatever town you're from. More than likely, if it was even a little dinky town, there might have been more than one. Any size town at all had several. In Iowa City, that doesn't count Coralville. We had 2 at the time in Coralville, maybe 3. I don't know if the other one was open at that period of time or not. So we're going to call that like 28 grocery store right here in town. 28! So what they came up with, they decided that they came up with a MUD Merchants United. Now that's neat. All 28 stores went together. 25 because I don't think the stores in Coralville did not have delivery. Cliff Kosher would deliver once in a while. Ed Kosher, who owned it from Ed Kosher's store, he owned the Kosher store from 1903 to 1935. He would deliver, but he didn't advertise that. All right. So now we have 25 grocery stores. They all went together to form MUD. And here was the deal: they had a warehouse just like they do now, MUD's way ahead of its time, folks. And it was in Iowa City, 1915 to about 1940, 1941. World War II put it out of business. Everybody left town. All the men were gone. More than as many go. So they had a warehouse downtown, a big central warehouse. It was on College Street. If you remember where Linder Tire was, it'd be on College Street. If you were on Clinton Street in Iowa City. Clinton Street in Iowa City, you can head north or south on Clinton Street, and you come to College Street. Okay, you're on Clinton Street, you come to College Street. On the east side, you could look right down to the Ted Mall. On the west side, you look right into the side of the mall. Well, College Street used to go to the west there, and it went for a west another block, and then down the hill, down the hill there. Well, the warehouse was down there behind Linder Tire. You locals, you'll know where I'm talking about. Okay, that's where the warehouse was. So what would happen is you, Senior Talk listener, would call in your order to West Side Grocery, we'll call it. You would call in your grocery, West Side Grocery. They would load up a box with your name on it, Mrs. Smith, and they would get it down. They would get it down to the grocery store down there. The grocery store would take it down to MUD. MUD would then package it up, and they had 4 deliveries a day. 4 a day. 8 and 10 a.m. and 2 and 4 p.m. And they had 10 routes. And in 1915, they started, the delivery guys all had horse and wagon. Until about early 1920s, the truck started to become a little more reliable. How's that sound? Horses were reliable for a long, long time. So delivered by horse and wagon. So they all the boxes, and they divide them up, and this one goes to West Side Grocery. Here's this goes that side of town on that route, and these 4 go here to the College Hill part. This one goes out to Rundle Street route. This one goes up to the River Street route, things like that. I had 10 routes 4 times a day. And the story goes, which sounds true, it's at first hand to me because I heard it told to me by Dean Jones, my friend, the late Dean Jones. He said that after, he was a delivery boy back then, a long time ago, a delivery guy. And he said, you did your route 4 times a day, and what were they? $17 a week they made. All right, I'm just going to call that. They're not open on Sundays. We're going to call that the $3 a day, 4 times a day. It's what it is, folks. Not be rain or shine, he said. Middle of winter, middle of summer made no difference. And he said, when you get the last one done, your horse would just say, back home. And he said, your horse could pull that wagon right back. You didn't have to do a thing. Because when they got back, they got fed. They got oats and water and stuff like that. Hey. And he said it was just a common sight to see MUD all over Iowa City. He said a common sight to see guys in wagons, buckboard wagons, going all over town in the rain. For him, he just had a slicker, he called it, raincoats, delivering groceries. They're ice delivery men, cold delivery men. It was tough times, folks, but nobody knew any different. That's the way it was. So that's what it was. All right. So I thought that would be well worth the story anyhow, and for sure, one of the things I'm going to talk about maybe next week, I'm going to talk about a one-room schoolhouse. Now, I never had the opportunity to be educated at a one-room schoolhouse. I find it extremely fascinating. I find it very interesting in a lot of facets. I'll talk more next week. But the premise of having a one-room schoolhouse, and in that one room, remember, I'm talking one room, folks, one-room schoolhouse, the premise there was that all the kids in the area got up and went to that school, whether they rode their bike, they walked. Back in the day, they didn't get a ride. You rode your pony or a bike, or somehow you got there. They could put kindergarten through 12th grade, or I think it was probably designed for 8th grade way back, because you only needed an 8th grade education in Iowa to be legal. And then you went somewhere else for high school rather than that little one-room school. But they had 8 grades in the one room. And it's amazing to me how the teacher could teach the 3rd grade and then go the one kid in 3rd grade, and then go over and have the boy, we'll say, and then there's 3 girls in the 5th grade. They're sitting over there. And then you've got a 7th grader and an 8th grader, a boy and a girl. It's just like it's potpourri. That teacher had to know how to teach kids how to write, read, spell, teach them history, teach them gamesmanship, how to print, how to retain story, tell stories, geography, history. One teacher did it all in a one-room schoolhouse. And get this, I've talked to many, many people who were educated in a one-room schoolhouse, and they stand by it 100%, say that they got a better education there than they did in the public schools, which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they just stand by it to a person. They stand by their one-room schoolhouse education. And I think that's way, way more of a story than I can totally cover on Senior Talk, but we'll talk a little bit more next week about it. I'm kind of spilling the beans here a little bit, but it makes me feel good just to think of it. So many of you, maybe you can dust off in the next week, maybe dust off some of your memories to your kids or your grandkids about going to school in a one-room school, back to school, how you walked uphill both ways. That's the standard of the industry. We all know that. But some of the things, and tell them how they had. The other thing is now the Iowa City school system, in falling in line with other school systems, I don't know what they're going to call it, a cluster or something like that. All the 5th graders will go to this school, and all the 5th and 6th will go to that school, and all the 1st and 2nd will go over to that school. I don't know what they're calling it. I don't understand it. I don't have kids in the mix here, so I don't pay a lot of attention to it, but a lot going on, folks. So that's the story from Senior Talk. And I just think that it's an interesting concept, and I think we should all take time to embrace it. And if you were educated there, more power to you. So, I'm getting stronger and stronger every day because I can now lift $100 worth of groceries with one hand, one arm. I can now lift $100 worth of groceries with just one arm. That's how strong Rex is. So, listen, folks, you've done a wonderful yeoman's job of taking a busy time out of your day. My salute to all veterans on this special day. My salute each and every day to all you veterans. All my friends out at the Coralville American Legion and the Oxford Legion and North Liberty Legion and down to the Lone Tree Legion, and who else is around? Coralville, of course, Lone Tree Legion, all the Legion clubs. I hope I'm not Swisher. All those Legion clubs around here. My salute to you. Thank you for protecting America. We hope it goes forward. So thanks for listening to Senior Talk. Go out there and enjoy the weather. Go Hawks. We'll see you next time. So long.
The Solon American Legion presents country artist Ray Scott, Sunday, September 22nd. Come see this up-and-coming star up close in the intimate setting of the Solon American Legion. Showtime's at 7 p.m. Tickets are just $15 in advance and $20 at the door. Featuring opening act, the Jello Shots. Get your tickets today. Call 319-330.